DunnWisdom show. My name is Melissa P. Dunn. I am the CEO of MD Marketing Network and the founder of this DunnWisdom movement. This is where we introduce you to individuals and concepts designed to help you to become more successful in life and in business. So we're kicking off a new segment here on the DunnWisdom Morning Show today called the Power Player Conversations. Now, if you remember on Monday's show, I helped you to define exactly what a power player is. A power player is someone that understands that true power comes from the inside out, and they play life full out energy, full out intention, full out action, so that they may get the results that will not only impact their life, but the communities that they serve. And today's Power Player conversation is going to be with Dr. Candace Drummond. She is a clinical psychologist and an entrepreneur. And of course, like a lot of women, she wears the parent hat as well. Help me welcome Dr. Drummond. Hey, Candace, Dr. Drummond.
Thank you for having me, Melissa. It is such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Oh, fantastic. Now, you and I spoke yesterday on Live Healthy Miami Gardens Live, and I was going back and forth between calling you Dr. Candace, Dr. Drummond. Which one do you prefer?
I mean, whatever comes off the lips, they're all my name, but Dr. Candace is better, I think, just it feels more personable. Dr. Drummond sounds like, some old stodgy.
All right, Dr. Candace, it is. So tell me, you're the CEO of I know the name,
Avid Intellectual.
Avid Intellectual. I love that name because I think as women, that's kind of what a lot of us strive for, right? To be an avid intellectual.
Yeah, the name is actually born out of my daughter. My daughter is Avery Victoire Drummond. And so those are her initials, AVID. And so everything that I do is kind of an ode to her. Did I lose you?
Okay, I don't know. Somebody just called me at 9 o'clock. I think they forget that I go live. So, Dr. Candace, why don't you tell us about your business, and then I'll come back in.
Absolutely. So Avid Intellectual is a full service psychological and mental health provider that seamlessly integrates into any existing practice. What I found, I worked for several years, the company worked for several years doing contracting work for the government and for the school board and things of that nature. And what I discovered was that the big companies like the VA and all of them, they're not necessarily mental health providers, but they accept the grant for mental health from the government and then subcontract out these services to smaller providers, much like myself. And so I decided to create a way that private practices could also benefit from that model by outsourcing mental health and other services while doing them in-house. So I call it in-house outsourcing. So my company actually integrates and becomes their psychology department, their physical therapy department, their acupuncture department, whatever is necessary in order to better build their business. So it integrates, like I said, seamlessly into their existing practice.
Okay, you just really touched on a couple of things that I want to visit one step at a time. First, government contracting. Now, I know that is, I think, perhaps the most reliable way that an entrepreneur can scale their business. What was your experience going after government contracts?
So I agree, that in normal times, government contracting is like the best way. When I started Avid Intellectual back in 2017, we didn't have our first client until May of 2018. So it took us about 6 months to get a contract. And we didn't exactly get a contract. We more got a vendor assignment to these different companies. So we have a vendor contract with the Department of Disability, with Division of what is it called? DVR, Department of Vocational Rehab, and also with the VA. And so we're one of several vendors for these different parties. And so when I first started, like I said, it took us about 6 months, but within 18 months, by the end of 2019, we had 13 locations throughout the state of Florida, serving 7 counties. So government contract is definitely, you know, a positive way. However, then COVID happened.
Right. Well, I don't want to quite talk about COVID yet, because based on what I'm seeing, I think that now, well, let's go there, right? So pre-COVID, a lot of us was scaling our business with government contracts, myself included, right? I do a lot of work with MD Marketing Network. I would say perhaps 60% of our clients are governments, municipalities, or nonprofits. And so during COVID, the funding dries up. Typically, marketing is the first thing to go. But I am optimistic. I actually believe, particularly for mental health, particularly for work around racial equity, particularly around work as it relates to health disparities, I believe those contracts are going to come back. And so I think that now is the time for small businesses and entrepreneurs to lay the groundwork, to get their certification in order, for them to make sure that their financial statements and their income tax and all of that stuff is in order, because I believe in 6 to 8 months, you're going to see an uptick.
I would have to agree with you as well. Like you said, when COVID happened, I thought I had built a recession-proof business, and then COVID happened and all of the government agencies closed, the schools closed, and so for about 4 to 6 months, we literally didn't see any patients, or, you know, we went from 20 to 25 patients a day to, in the month of May, we saw 6 patients for the entire month.
Wow.
So it was, you know, like I say, if it weren't for the love and support of my parents and some very shrewd decisions that I made in that year, my company wouldn't have survived, because we didn't get the government assistance that was promised.
Oh, how come?
Well, the emergency disaster advance ran out before we got, you know, it's all said they ran out of money. And then the loan, I didn't get approved because my personal finances were not in the shape to be approved for credit worthiness. And then when the PPP loan came out the first time, they also ran out of funding.
Do you know it's coming up?
Yes. I recently got a notification from the company that approved me for the PPP loan the first time, asking me to go ahead and complete that process again. But recently we actually received a grant from Broward County. The Broward County CARES program actually awarded us a grant. So that was enough, again, to just kind of, you know, keep us trucking along.
Okay, good. I'm happy that you were able to get the Broward County CARES dollars. So how did you pivot? What did you do? Yeah, talk to me about that. How did you pivot?
So like I said, you know, at the end of 2019, I had already made the plan to, like I said, offer our services to private sector clients. However, it was only planned to be an offshoot, you know, sort of an addition to what we were currently doing with governments and schools and whatnot. However, you know, that was the pivot. So I really focused more on the private practices, especially the ones that were overwhelmed by mental health concerns. So we went into pediatrician mostly because, again, the teenagers were really suffering. And so we, in the last I would say about last 2 or 3 months of 2020, we signed almost 5 practices around the U.S. To help them with mental health, physical therapy, behavioral health, all kinds of ancillary services that can better serve their existing market.
Oh, I love it. So in essence, in my industry, we call that white label. So you're become a white label service that expands the practice's capacity to serve. And so you're providing the staffing, the infrastructure, and so client facing, it seems like that practice is actually offering that service, but in actuality, you're white labeled.
That's correct. That's correct.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Hey, Mom. Good morning. Thanks for watching as always. Sister Wiley, thank you for watching. Good morning to you as well. Good morning, Miss Joy. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you ladies have any questions for Dr. Candace, please do type it in the comments. So, you know, I wonder. Well, actually, yesterday on Monday, when we were talking about power players, one of the things that I talked about was maintaining a success consciousness, particularly when life seems really challenging. And you know, I know your business took a hit during COVID. My business took a hit during COVID as well. How did you maintain your mindset focused on your vision?
Well, you know, I always say, I'm very, very particular about what I allow in. You know, I don't just consume media and that sort of thing. So I research. If I use the internet and things like that, I'm always looking for what's next. So during that time, what came up to me a lot was these remote working opportunities. So like I think Barbados, Bermuda, some other countries were starting to offer these 12-month visas for remote workers. And since the majority of my brick and mortar locations had closed during COVID, my entire infrastructure became virtual. I already had a virtual assistant in the Philippines who's been with me since day one. And so we really reorganized everything so that I could live anywhere. Unfortunately, during that time, I also got evicted from my apartment. My vehicle got repossessed. My daughter and I were facing homelessness. And so I made the decision to move to Jamaica. The cost of living for myself in Jamaica would be lower, and I would be able to, you know, see beautiful things at a low cost and still, like you say, maintain my mindset, still be able to love the world around me, even if I was broke.
Wow, Candace, this is such a powerful story. This is such a powerful story. And let me tell you why I feel inspired by what you're saying to me. I think that most of us, particularly those of us who are entrepreneurs, right, with successful business, are one crisis away from what you're experiencing right now. I mean, pre-COVID, you had government contracts, you were in, you know, several different locations, your business was booming, you were thinking about adding a vertical service to your business. Then the economy closed and everything went away.
Yes, yeah. I mean, like I said, I really thought that I had built something that was, like I said, resistant to these sorts of changes. You know, having the government contracts, and you know, the government never closes. You know, schools never close. Like, this is not a typical situation, and so it was very, very, very difficult for me. You know, like you said, 2020 was supposed to be my first $1 million year. And instead, like you heard, I lost virtually everything.
Wow. What city, out of curiosity, what city is your business registered in?
North Lauderdale. North Lauderdale.
Have you spoken to the team in North Lauderdale? Do they know what's happening to your business?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I never really even considered it.
No, you should. You need to. Listen, North Lauderdale needs to know what happened to your business. And Catherine Randolph is the Director of Economic Development for that city. I'm going to connect the two of you. You need to talk to her. You need to help her to understand what's happening, because here's the thing, is that they may have funding to help your business, right? So I want you to, I'm going to connect you with Catherine Randolph. I need you to talk to her. And then I need you to call back Sandy McDowell's office in Broward County, the Office of Economic Development. And I need you to talk to them the way you just spoke to me, and ask them what other resources are out there to help your business. Because I'm telling you, what you experience, like I experienced a loss in income as well. Like 90% of my business went away for the same reason that it happened to you. So I 100% get it, right? But whereas for me, it's a little bit harder for me to access some of those resources because I'm a commissioner. For you, you don't have that barrier, right? So I'm gonna stay on the line. I'll get you those numbers, and then I need you to make those calls, and I need you to keep in touch with me, right?
Definitely.
So on the positive side, you decided to take this as an opportunity to do something that you've always wanted to do anyways, which is work from anywhere.
Yes, as a matter of fact, that was always my dream. That was always my goal. I wanted to have a career that I could, make good money, but then not be tied down or tethered to any particular location. And yeah, now I definitely have that. My daughter is in a really great school out here. They have smart screens in their classrooms and all kinds of things that I couldn't even imagine giving her the access to, and now we can. So
you know what I'm thinking, Candace? Sometimes, particularly when we're on the verge of making that $1 million year, God puts us in a situation in order for us to really achieve what we're truly asking for. Sometimes he has to break it down to rebuild the foundation so that you can go from having a $1 million year to a $10 million year without sacrificing the lifestyle that you want, without sacrificing your child.
That's exactly what happened, because when I look back at it, yes, we were doing well. We had all of these locations and things, but because of that, it really did keep me tethered. I think I drove 10,000 miles a month between the locations, picking up materials, dropping off materials, just keeping everything in order, meeting with people when necessary. And again, all of that was further away from my goal of, like I said, this freedom of living anywhere and working from anywhere. And if it had continued, I wouldn't have stopped it. I would have, like you say, sacrificed my time, my social life, my health in order to make these things happen. But because of that, I've actually, like you said, created where this year is 2021 is positioned to exceed what we expected for 2020.
Oh, fantastic. Look at God. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Wiley. Good job, Melissa. Then, Dr. Candace, are you practicing in Jamaica?
No, I'm not at this time. I do some virtual therapy online, but mostly with people, only right now with mothers in Florida, because I work almost primarily with single parents. But I don't think there's no restriction. I actually checked out with my license. There's no restriction to me practicing here on the island, in Jamaica. I just haven't, because the infrastructure is a little bit different, and it's difficult to kind of figure out payment and, all of those things on the island.
So I know you're in Hey, Don, good morning to you as well. Thank you for tuning in. Good words for Dr. Candace. Thank you, Sister Wiley. Yeah, that came to my spirit as I was talking to her. So I know you're a part of our Women's Getting It Done Facebook group as well. And I heard that you mentioned that you wanted to open a business in Jamaica. Could you talk
Yes, I'm actually in the process. Yes, I spoke with the woman you connected me with, Sharika Branford. She's an attorney on the island here, also from the States, who decided to migrate and move back home. So she is helping me with the business registration, business name registration, so I can get my tax numbers and all of those things to open a bank account. I've already done the name search and everything, and yeah, we're about to get started. I think the last of my materials should be coming this week, my equipment, and yeah, we're on a roll.
Tell us a little bit about the business that you're going to have in Jamaica. Is it the same service as Avid Intellectuals or something different?
No, it's different. It's I considered doing mental health in Jamaica, because right now there is a big push by the Ministry of Health to destigmatize and actually get more people involved in mental health services here on the island. However, there are not very many qualified providers. And so if I were to go into the mental health space, it would definitely take quite a bit of personal time. And I would very likely burn out very quickly. I haven't seen patients in a few years. I usually, like I said, I work primarily with single moms. However, the company that I'm starting, also called Avid, but it's Avid Clean. What it is a disinfecting and sanitization service that is primarily marketed to schools. We provide high pressure steam cleaning, UV light sanitization, hospital grade UV light sanitization, and chemical free pest repellent, all in one, for schools, in order to help them avoid COVID infections and things like that, and also to help them avoid ingestion of any chemicals, by the little kids, because that's always an issue with small children putting things in their mouths or getting into corners where you're leaving, rat bait or those sorts of things. And so I developed a formula for our steam cleaning liquid that they can actually buy separately. I developed a formula for the steam cleaning liquid that when you steam clean with our liquid, it also repels rats, small rodents, mice, spiders, ants, roaches, for up to 10 days. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So you truly are a serial entrepreneur. I love it. Congratulations. So are you going to be patenting your formula?
Yes. In Jamaica, they allow for me to create a proprietary blend. And so it'll be sold exclusively by my company. So even if they don't use our steam cleaning services, they can also, like I said, purchase our liquid. So we'll be able to have that in stores within 3 months, was what Sharika was saying to me.
Oh, good. And talk to Sharika too about not only protecting your intellectual property in Jamaica, but internationally, that blend, because patents is really the way to go when you're inventing stuff.
I mean, the substance exists, other steam cleaning companies, the substance exists, but just not in the blend that we use it.
Listen, girl, protect your intellectual property. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, and there's a second person I need to connect you with too, a reporter that works for the Gleaner. So when you're ready to launch your company locally, Sharika knows him too, because so remind me when you're ready to launch, reach out to me and I'll connect you to that reporter so that you can get some publicity for your business. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. See, this is the thing. This is, I remember my grandmother always telling me, don't grudge people for what they have, because you don't know what they're going through. And you and I have been in conversations on social media. We actually had a meeting a couple of months ago, like pre-COVID, and you're an active participant in the Women Getting It Done group, but I had no clue that this was what's happening in your life.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, it's everyone that I talk to, they tell me that, you know, they're so inspired by my story, especially, you know, choosing to move to a country. I don't have any relatives here. I don't know anyone here. I came to Jamaica with my last $1,000. It was $500 for the plane ticket for my daughter and I. I found an Airbnb online for a month, and I paid another $560 or something like that. We came with the clothes on our back. I had no idea what we were going to eat, where we were going to go, what we were going to do. And, you know, so to people, it sounds inspirational. To me, it sounds like a move of desperation. It was the only choice I could make. But like, I mean, right now where I live, you know, I have 180-degree unobstructed view of the ocean. Like, could I have ever done that in the States? Like, I probably wouldn't have done that for 10 years, you know? And so the like you said, the life I've been able to make for myself is much more comfortable. And I'm glad I took the choice. My dad was scared. He didn't know what was gonna happen, but now he says, you know, it looks like you made the right choice.
Listen, clearly, you are favored. And I love speaking to people who, even when their back is against the wall, they're clear enough to hear God's voice and take action on the inspiration and the guidance that you're provided. So you jumped. You were fearful, but you jumped anyways.
Absolutely. I really, you know, you do your pros and cons, you know, and at the time I was living in Atlanta, and like I said, I got evicted. And so we came back to Florida, put all of our stuff in storage. And I was staying with a friend. Of course, you know, that wasn't gonna last. And so I was trying to decide, okay, I can't make a life for myself in the States. I just can't afford it anymore. At this point, I need something cheaper. And, you know, it was either a shelter or this move. And I knew that coming to Jamaica, my daughter would at least have, you know, access to childcare, you know, at the very least, that we didn't have access to in the States. And so I was like, at least I can, you know, find somebody to keep her for a while so I can try and rebuild my company. I can, you know, try this, try that, you know, all of these trying, because trust me, I've tried a lot in the last year. And but now, like I say, I'm just thrilled at how well she's doing in school. I'm thrilled at her progress. She's gaining weight. She's always very, you know, petite on the small side. So she's gaining weight. Her hair is growing. I'm gaining weight, you know. So again, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. What words of wisdom would you offer to anyone who is currently facing what you are getting through right now?
I mean, I think that people should look at unusual resources. You know, I think that's what a lot of us are very comfortable with the devil we know. And just because you know it doesn't mean that it's working. I lived in Florida for most of my life. And then I moved to Atlanta, where I thought, you know, the Black Mecca, and, you know, it's going to be great. And if it weren't for COVID, it probably would be. But I think that anyone going through a difficult time right now should look at, you know, like, just look at unusual or unorthodox options, because you never know what it could do for you.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I definitely, well, you and I are going to keep in touch, see how we can collaborate on some stuff. And I want you to come back when you are definitely back on track for making your first million. Come back and share your story again.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you so much, Melissa. I know that my story isn't over yet. That's why I can't write the book yet. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta have the we gotta have the celebration part at the end. You know, I made it. So we when I get there, I'll definitely let you know.
All right, fantastic. I look forward to it. And I know you're in great hands with Sharika, and I'm going to connect you with the folks at the city of North Lauderdale, and then we'll keep in touch.
Thank you again so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Anytime, please feel free to reach out. I am here. I love it.
All right, my pleasure. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the DunnWisdom Morning Show. This is the first of our Power Player Conversations. If you found this show to be enlightening and inspiring, or to add value to you in any way, I want you to like and follow the DunnWisdom Morning Show. And then I want you to share this episode. If you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. And as always, I want to remind you to be kind and loving to yourself, okay? You deserve it. Be well.